Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of LostinTranslationmon. This time we covered Digimon Adventure 2020, Episode 20, The Seventh One Awakens. I'm May, and I'm joined by Quinn.
Howdy.
And Stevie.
Hello.
And with that, let's get on to the synopsis. So the episode just straight away takes off from the last episode, where suddenly something incredibly evil is passing overhead, and it's Velgamon, remember, from Frontier. That other season that forgot it had other characters.
Yeah, we're sure pulling a lot from season 4.
Yeah, and I was hoping, I was like, oh man, imagine if we get we get Frontier, but it's got the same lore, but it's good. No, so far, nah. But I'm still hopeful. Probably wrongly so, but you know. So Velgamon seems to absorb or abduct Takeru or something, and it's kind of... So in Digimon, a lot of the time, sometimes they give up drawing the facial features of characters, but I feel like this episode just did not want to draw any characters that were further than a certain distance away from where the camera would be.
God, this episode was so lazy in so many ways.
Like, Takeru just does not have a face, and sometimes it's just like, it's only if you zoom in you notice that they don't have faces. But this season's been extremely bad at giving anybody a face if they're in the distance at all. Because a lot of things, you know, when they're in the distance, if they're still the main focus of, you know, what we're looking at, they should still have some details, or at least you look at them and you think that they have details.
Something,
but, yeah. It was basically in every screen where the characters were on that they were maybe a couple of meters away from, you know, the quote-unquote camera. They just didn't have any facial features, like not even like little dots for eyes or, you know, little lines, just blank. Just nothing, no facial features. They were just blank, and that's... I mean, I know it's like just a nitpick, but it's just kind of... I've never noticed it this much in any show before.
Yeah, it wasn't great, and then just, God, everything about the just massive number of kidnappings we've had in this show.
It's just, yeah, it's every episode. It's either, we're separated, it's a kidnapping. It's just constant, and I don't know, I was kind of looking forward, like, at the end of the episode, what I thought was happening, even though we sort of knew that Angemon wasn't going to be doing too well, I thought that Taichi and Yamato were going to be kidnapped, and that sort of started, like, Takeru's own arc. And I guess if it was Taichi and Yamato being kidnapped, that would have been fine, whatever, because, you know, at least it's them getting them off the screen. And I was kind of hoping, okay, this is now Takeru's, like, arc where he's going to be, you know, super brave, and he's going to try to rescue his brother and some kid he just met. And that could have been good, but no. It's fine, but I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. So the group decides to flee as Velgamon's destroyed, and Leomon says that Velgamon is powerful, and basically just starts talking Devimon up. It's like, oh, if Devimon has power over such a strong Digimon, oh wow, he must be so powerful. I'm just like, yeah,
I guess, sure.
Are we just forgetting power levels exist? Because, like, we can pull Omegamon out of thin air, and Velgamon is...
Yeah.
Perfect, I think. Like, it's the beast spirit.
Big
it's the beast spirit of Koichi.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Velgamon was cool, or at least was in Frontier, and then kind of sucked here.
I think I've completely forgotten everything in Frontier.
Good.
Yeah, that's fine. We're kind of doing it all again here.
Yeah, it's just... we're grabbing bits from other seasons, and this episode makes it very, very clear that this season is just grabbing ideas from other seasons. It's not trying to do something new like Atmon tried to do something new, and even, like, more or less Cross Wars tried to do something new. But this one just seems like it's grabbing aspects from every single season and not really doing much, except for Savers. I don't think I've seen anything that is reminiscent of Savers yet, besides, like, Stegomon, but that's about it.
Taichi's punched some Digimon, right?
Yeah, not
he
in
did
a
punch
while,
Digimon.
But yeah, he at one point he was fighting with
They've been too
Rebar,
big.
which was cool.
The Digimon got too big to punch.
Yeah,
That
but
would
then
not
that
stop
never
Masaru.
stopped Masaru.
Yeah, that never stopped Masaru. So, yeah, it's... okay, then, including that's every season it's taken something from, maybe except for 02.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole cast of characters is also in 02.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, Takeru being, like, grumpy, I guess. Because he was kind of not this character in the original. He was kind of like, he would just cry.
I mean,
now we're getting brave.
You've abducted me and are about to murder my brother. I am mildly upset by this.
Hey, can you stop? Like, just telling the
Doubled
giant...
his
like, that
vocabulary
was-
this week.
Yeah, he's went from, Oniichan to Yamete. So, well done.
You know
And
2 words.
I know I guess we're so mad at this episode, we're just not even going to do the synopsis because we're just jumping around. But there was just
not
a
mad.
solid point of time where the lines were just Takeru, Oniichan, Takeru, Oniichan. That was the episode. Like,
They were distressed.
It
The
was
music
Yeah,
wasn't
but-
particularly distressed, but they
No.
were distressed.
They were, and I just, I could not keep it at all together. I started laughing during that sequence when I'm supposed to care about these characters.
I just wanted to see more of the Digimon Zoom call that we had in the only scene that mattered, which was the scene of the other characters.
The one where we couldn't be bothered to have 2 of them show up.
Yeah,
that
we
was
can't be
weird.
bothered animating or paying any voice actors today, so...
Yeah, they're just late.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's fine, whatever.
Jo's
Anyway,
probably studying.
So, well, Mimi's probably getting ready because she needs to, she needs to actually take time. Also, she's probably or she could be asleep because
That would be
they've
fair.
been basically not. I don't think they've been asleep for 3 days.
Or, someone's parents could care enough about them to not want them to go out the day after they disappeared for 3 days.
Oh, it's absolutely Joe. I guess if I had to pick 2 characters to not be able to go out, it would be. I think Mimi's got incredibly, caring, loving parents who probably would just say, hey, you're not allowed out, you're grounded.
We
which
almost
would be
got something
completely
interesting
reasonable.
out of Koshiro this week.
Yeah, almost. I was excited. And then
Except
then
half
we
sentence.
yeah, and obviously Joe would be maybe his parents wouldn't need to punish him because he'd be like, I'm grounding myself, Dad.
I seriously
Sorry, Mum,
want to
for
know...
worrying you.
I guess as long as we're just skipping around, I seriously want to know how that conversation went. So where have you been for 3 days during a blackout? Anyway, my legs hurt from all the time sitting in Seiza. No, back up a bit.
Yeah, maybe I just hope it's sort of setting the groundwork for actually some character bits in the future.
I think if we were going to get more out of anyone's parents, we'd have gotten a 10-second flashback that involved Sora's mom having a voice actress.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm still hopeful that there'll be actually some characters. Maybe after the Yamato and Taichi show is done, we get to be back with the characters who I care about. Anyway, so we'll go on to the synopsis because there are things that happen. So Megadramon shows up because I love Megadramon, but I was really kind of annoyed that we didn't get Gigadramon like we did in Digimon Adventure when the Metal Empire area where Megadramon and Gigadramon were just trying to nuke the kids. That was great. And I'm really glad that Megadramon shows up. He's probably one of my favorite Digimon. Big dragon, big danger snake. I love him so much. I just wish there was Gigadramon too. So Leomon's like, hey, you know how last episode I was like, hey, I will fight this monster and you run ahead? Let's do that again. So he stays behind to fight the Megadramon. And just a bit of a flash forward into the episode when we see Leomon again, he is standing on top of Megadramon's
Yeah,
claw
he
or
just
head.
won off screen.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool seeing, the part of the Digimon, him just sort of standing on it. It
I
was
didn't
kind
even
of cool.
register that.
For the record,
I
on
care-
my Leomon death
yeah.
clock, we got 4 minutes of Leomon this episode, bringing our total to 17.
Yeah. He was barely, in the
He
episode.
didn't
He
need
was
to
just
be
sort
in
of...
this episode, except that he was standing
Hey.
there last time.
I think it would be bad if we had 2 perfects and a fairly strong adult fail to beat a perfect, so I'm gonna just sort of hang out here and beat up Megadramon. So I guess that's sort of what happened. They just kind of had to take him away so it wasn't 2 Digimon struggling to fight a perfect level, which was weird.
But they certainly weren't struggling. We beat Velgmon very easily.
Oh yes.
After hyping up what a strong Digimon he was,
But it was with the magic shonen Jesus power, okay?
and
At the end it
nipple
was.
missile surfing, words that somehow
Oh, that
work
was
together.
so silly.
It was so dumb,
That was
but also the
cool.
best part of the episode.
It was cool, but it was silly. It was
At least it was an
like,
idea.
Yeah, that is a new thing we did this week.
But I just wish that Wagurumon, while he's writing things, didn't look so disinterested. He looked so
Just
bored on the
yeah.
nipple missile. Like, he's just kind of upset when it's not about him. Like, he's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm sure, I'm just gonna sit on Metal Greymmon's attack, okay. Anyway, so sorry, I got ahead of myself again.
It keeps happening.
We get some evolutions, and immediately I am incredibly worried about this episode, as, you know, it's 6 minutes into the episode, and we get 2 evolutions, and they're not even split-screen evolutions. We get the full animation sequence of Garurumon to Were-Garurumon, and then we have Greymon to Metal Greymon. And I've always said that you can kind of tell how quality an episode's going to be by how many evolutions they put in the first few minutes, or if they just skip evolutions, or if they decide to do a split-screen evolution. And it's just, oh no. And still, the track record for that is doing pretty well. My evolution per episode theory.
I mean, I could have sworn we've had this split screen evolution in one of the horrible episodes recently, though.
We did a combined evolution in a while back,
I think that was an okay. I think
like
it was
just
in
a
an
couple
okay
episodes
episode.
ago.
No, that was during the one where we didn't have enough budget to make Omegamon exist.
I don't think it wasn't that one, was it?
I think
thought
it was,
like...
but I'd have to go check, I guess.
Yeah, but anyway, most of the time when we have like evolutions in an episode like this early, or not split up or skipped or sped up, it seems to be a not fantastic episode. So immediately my hopes are restored, sort of, when we see Koshiro in the human world. He's trying to connect to his Digivice, and Sora shows up and says that she was told off by her mother. And then we get a frame of her knees with her very traditional looking mother, and it's just really great. She actually got scolded because it's been 3 whole days and these kids are 10. They should be in trouble. The fact that Taichi's mum didn't think of saying, "Hey Sora, you're Taichi's friend. Do you know where Taichi is?"
Have you seen my child? No.
Meanwhile, we have an actual character being punished, maybe not punished, but like at least told off.
This does imply that either Taichi's mum just doesn't care about Taichi,
I think
or
that's
Taichi
just
has a history of vanishing for multiple days at a time without
Probably both.
contacting her.
I think it's neither. I think the writers are just bad.
Okay, fair.
I think the writers
that's like
didn't
the
even think.
consequences of that.
Yeah, but both are just sort of... It's still... Even if your kid is missing for 3 days, you're still going to... Like, and if this is like a common occurrence, you still should worry about the kid, or at least ask the kid's friend, because, you know, kids are probably not going to just roam the streets alone. They're probably going to be with their friends. So it's weird that she said, "Hey, Sora, Taichi's friend," and then didn't say, "By the way, speaking of Taichi, have you seen him?"
Said his name.
Yeah, and then she's just like, "Oh, by the way, have this other kid, who I guess we're going to forget exists because we've skipped, like, a day, I guess, and Miko and...
updates, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was at least going to be, okay, we'll get, like, Hikari talking and we'll get some character. Nope, we're just going to forget that existed.
Nope.
That was just us seeing Hikari. There was literally no point of having that scene because Taichi's mum didn't even notice her kid was gone. Anyway, it's just really nice having some sort of realistic parenting of just sort of, hey, kid, you were gone for 3 days. I'm going to tell you off. Like, thank you, Sora's mum. We didn't get the scene that we should have got. We didn't get any personality, any relationship between the two, but it was something. And then we have Koshiro looking concerned, which is almost some character, but I guess we're just going to skip over that for now. Hopefully,
we are
They're not ready to
foreshadowing
reveal that
a
part for us.
possible character development.
I mean, I hope
Something
that it
about
gets
his
addressed.
house.
Because I think Koshiro's character and his sort of relationship with his parents, and the realization that they're his adoptive parents, but he still loves them anyway. I feel like that was one of the strong points of the original, and I'm just kind of looking forward to the fact that we may get something like that, but it is kind of weird that it's episode 20. In the original, like, the original had a lot of problems. The original is not as good as, you know, people can say it is. Like, if you take off the nostalgia goggles, the original's kind of got a lot of flaws and a kind of a lot of, you know, boring episodes, but they foreshadowed Koshiro's parents being his adoptive parents and not biological in episode, I think it was episode His evolution, whatever his evolution episode was. So that,
I think his was
early on,
5.
not
But yeah, about
yeah,
right.
yeah. Oh yeah, because it was before Mimi's one. But it's just kind of weird that we're getting it 20 episodes in, but I'm still kind of hoping that it can be good. Like, I still think the season is probably better than the original, but with another 46 episodes to go, it could definitely end up being worse.
Yeah, especially since it looked like we're maybe gonna get more Greymon next time, which is wild.
Yeah, that's concerning. We have 46 episodes left. What are we going to do for 46 episodes unless we're just going to 02? Unless this is going to be 30-something episodes adventure and then 30-something episodes 02.
I guess, but if that's what we're doing, then we really have not set that up well. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Stevie.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. We are just sort of jumping all over the synopsis, but I don't know. I'm kind of hoping next time it's some sort of dark evolution, but I don't know.
Yep. People are saying Mugendramon because of the shot we get in the evolution sequence. I still think that's just flavor and lore, that's just where parts of Metal Greymon come from.
Yeah, I'd be down for it, but I don't see it happening.
I mean, we're not getting Skull Greymon, so far. But it would be weird to go, hey, let's get the next evolution off Skull Greymon. Like, Skull Greymon was a threat because that was the first perfect that they had on their team. None of the kids had perfect yet, and we just kind of had to wait until Skull Greymon ran out of energy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would be weird to get Skull Greymon now, unless we're getting a Dark Evolution to Ultimate instead.
What if we get Black War Greymon?
That could be possible. I don't think it's going to be Mugendramon, though. A lot of people saying Mugendramon, but I just don't feel that.
Yeah. I also just don't think we're getting a Dark Evolution based on the, wording of the preview, which was, we're going to have
positive.
a miracle that has never happened before.
Yeah, and it's isn't the next episode a Wanderous update or something? It's, the Tide turning update. I feel like, I don't know, it seems too positive to be a Dark Evolution. I think we're just going to get War Greymon, which is just 21 episodes. Wasn't the 21st episode of Adventure Home Away from Home when we just got Metal Greymon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what they're going to do for 46 episodes. If we didn't know it was going to be 66 episodes long, I would think that this is going to be a 30 episode season the way it's going.
Yeah.
And Devimon is the main boss.
Yeah, I could even see it turning into 26 at this point. You just do one more evolution arc and then you're done.
We're ignoring power levels because Devimon is, by the way, an adult level Digimon.
Yeah, the degree to which we don't care about him.
Yeah, and we just have him drop exposition to no one every episode.
I think they're trying to frame him as his power comes from his intelligence and strategy more than his physical power.
Right.
Yeah, but
so he's supposed to be the
weird,
evil mastermind and not the super
strong
strong
we're ultimately
villain.
still going to have a showdown with him where he's suddenly going to be super strong and be able to fight Omnimon or whatever.
I honestly think that we may be done with Omegamon. I feel like with Andromon being both an egg and kidnapped, I feel like that takes away Takeru's Jesus powers temporarily. I don't think we're going to have Omegamon yet.
Alright,
again.
War Greymon then should still be able to just utterly curb stomp Devimon, which doesn't make sense, and that's not going to be what happens because that's not Digimon.
Look, Devimon could show up and then immediately get eaten by the Dark Masters, and I'd be like, this makes sense. Even though we're skipping, we've been talking up Devimon the entire season, and even if it just amounts to nothing, it would make more sense for the Dark Masters to be fought because we're going to another evolution arc, and all I can care about is the evolution of Lilymon to Rosemon, to be honest. I'm just looking forward to that, because we're in the real world, we're gonna have some parent moments. Yeah, good.
Yeah, if we are, though, it's still very weird to me that we're back in the real world, except, the whole thing where, hey, we should really go search for the other Digimon has been just completely obviated. We don't care about that because we fixed it. They called them.
Yeah, we found them. Which I guess it was actually where we're up to in the synopsis.
Yeah.
So
we're back on track.
So when Sora says that she gets a text from Mimi and Joe who say they're running late, Koshiro is able to finally connect to Tentomon, and they're really happy to see each other, even if it's just on a Zoom call. And then Koshiro sort of runs off when we see some passerbys and paying attention to the screen, which seems like a weird choice because just say it's a game. And also, I feel like nobody in Japan, like, even though it's not good to be on, like, a phone call in public, like, it's not really looked fondly upon, maybe that's why it's running away, but it's still, like, it is kind of weird that someone would just look at the screen. I don't know. Anyway, so Piyomon, Palmon, and Gomon are also in the Zoom call, and apparently all the Digimon are in the network, which is where Taichi was in the first episode, and the Digimon are then tasked on working out what's going on, and then we see evil squid-looking thing. So I think we're just going to have our war game again, but with the evil squid-looking thing and these Digimon, and it would not surprise me if we just decided to have the evolution episode of all 4 in one episode because the writers do not care about these characters.
Yeah. God, this show is not good once we write out the only characters who have personalities, or apparently vocabularies.
Yeah, like, besides Oniichan. Like, I don't know why they're just spending so much time not with the characters that they've actually given. Well, Sora doesn't have much of a personality, but at least we know that her mum actually cared about her. The other characters, we know that Joe, Koshiro, and Mimi all have personalities. Besides what we saw about Taichi and his personality in the first few episodes, I don't know anything new about Taichi's personality. Yamato's personality is he has a brother. Takeru's is he is 8 and also will yell at Bird. But no, I'm not looking forward to Hikari either because Hikari has been shown to have no personality at all.
Hey Mom, by the way, Tai's fine. Anyway, that's my contribution.
Wait, who's Tai? Yeah, like, her personality is the Jesus child, and that was her personality in the original, but
that was also bad.
It's just, yeah, but I feel like this is like somehow worse because she was still...
She talked in complete sentences?
Yeah, and she wasn't, like, vague
And she wasn't there half the series being just, like, background Jesus child.
Yeah.
Like, she pretty much only appeared in episode 21.
Yeah, I mean, in the novel we have, like, as Taichi's leaving, Hikari says, "I see Digimon on the TV," and Taichi's like, "Oh, that's nice, dear." Like, which is a great addition because she's actually kind of realistic. Like, she's like, "Hey, Taichi, look, monsters on the TV. Let's look at them." At least there's some personality there. And Taichi's just like, "Oh, she's just sick. I'm going to, like, just disregard what my sister just said about seeing monsters on the TV," which is, to be fair, that's kind of reasonable, I guess. You don't usually see monsters on the TV. Anyway, again, we are distraction because we get back to Taichi and Yamato fighting Velgamon, where Gurumon is riding the nipple missile, and it obviously just it makes up for the fact that almost makes up for the fact that we don't get to continue on with what's happening in the human world because that's, I don't know. I care
Sora, so much
Mimi,
more
Joe,
about that
Koshiro
than anything that happened in this episode.
Yeah, and look, knowing that Sora's mum yelled at her makes Sora have more of a character than we've ever seen her have in this season.
Yep.
Like, thank you, writers, for finally giving Sora something, even though it wasn't even an animation, it was just a screen of her apologizing, like, without any noise or anything, and it was still better than the entire part of the episode that didn't feature that. So Yamato and Taichi are trying to fight with some tactics and timings, and but apparently their plan involves having Yamato leap at the Takeru ball over what looks to be several meters, more than what a child should be able to jump for, but whatever, he's passionate, and what's that thing where humans are able to be very strong where they look after their mother or something, I don't know. And he just starts to break through the Takeru ball, and Uegurumon asks to take over, and then Yamato's like, "No, I have to be stupid." It's
so
which
bad.
Is more than he just... I'm not sure if he even replies. He just sort of looks at Uegurumon and probably just says, "Takeru." Like,
he does.
He doesn't do anything. Like, he's just bursting through this ball, and honestly, I guess it would be emotional if the exact same thing happened in Tamers, but it was more meaningful because it was, episode 50. I cared about the character in the ball, and also it was the character trying to burst the character out of the ball was the character who killed the character in the ball's cat. So
yeah, no,
I don't know.
It was. I don't know. In Tamers, it had emotional stakes. Here, it's just like, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna free that kid who got kidnapped 2 minutes ago.
And also, it just felt kind of weird that Yamato was bursting through the ball. This is an extremely dangerous thing, and I guess that's meant to say, oh look, what he's risking for his brother. But it just feels weird because you just get your Digimon to do it.
Well, and it doesn't feel like he's risking anything because nothing happens. He's not even vaguely inconvenienced.
No, it's super easy.
The kids
Barely
fall
inconvenienced. He
100
breaks
feet
Takeru
and they're
out of
just fine.
Yeah, and it just is so it doesn't, it's not as meaningful as Beelzemon doing the exact same thing to Juri in the ball. Like it just that was so much more meaningful. And yeah, there was build up.
Juri was conscious. She didn't want to be in the ball.
And also the fact that Beelzemon was breaking her out after,
the whole thing, yeah.
It was like, and he went from being evil to being a good guy trying to rescue Juri. That was meaningful. I know this is meant to be meaningful, and I'm sure it's a little bit meaningful. It just sort of like, oh, it's a thing. Good, it means it has emotions. But it just doesn't feel as much as it tries to be.
There's really just not as much at play here.
Yeah.
It's just Yamato loves Takeru and wants to save him.
It relies on
that's
you
the whole
having
situation.
pre-existing emotions from having seen Adventure, which, like, at various points they've also tried to play to people who are new to the series. And I feel like you gotta pick one. This episode's an excellent example of them trying to play for both, because, and I guess I'll get into it now, when it's revealed that Angemon is, one, a holy Digimon, and two, Takeru's partner Digimon, and also Takeru was a chosen, that means nothing to me. I already knew all this. I don't really care. Even though they hadn't said that the holy Digimon were, Tailmon and Patamon, kind of assumed it as soon as they mentioned it, them being part of the original 8 Digimon that saved the world and being still alive, whatever. But that moment would have meant a lot more to me had I not already known that Takeru was the 7th Digidestined and Angemon was his partner. But then again, they also have no real build-up except for Yamato saying Takeru's name a lot and mentioning that he has a brother. Yeah.
Oniichan!
It's just... Yeah, that's his character. It's just that they join hands, their crests show up, so again, that would have been more meaningful had I not known that Takeru was there, but the lack of build-up also makes it hard to care about the characters if I didn't know who Takeru was. And, by the way, this whole time, Taichi's just watching, mid-battle, might I add, just staring, not doing anything. And this whole time, it would be kind of cool for him to have any, memory or just a flash of, his sister.
Caring at all about her, yeah.
Yeah, because, I know it's not about Taichi. This isn't a Taichi focus. This is not Taichi's episode. But it would be sure nice if we remembered that he had a sibling. This whole season is just Taichi and his family forgetting that the object's permanence of, oh, I can't see them right now, so they don't exist.
What even are relatives?
Yeah, well, and it was such a big deal those first 3 episodes, and then now he just does not care. Ran out of fucks. Yeah, that was his 20 episodes ago.
He was just oh, my mum and sister in danger. I'm going to go fair evade. That was really cool. Oh wow, Taichi's so brave. That was courage. And then never again. Taichi has not had a character moment, even in his evolution episodes, since I want to say episode 2 or 3.
Yeah. Since
we
COVID.
Haven't even had. Yeah, basically. Yamato and, that was still before the COVID hiatus, but the thing is, I know I always say, oh, I don't want Taichi and Yamato fighting because it's so cliche, but at least if they fought, it would have given us... Something?
Yeah.
I think they might have fought once, and it was just kind of, they dealt with it...
It was very perfunctory.
Yeah, but they also dealt with it like adults, and they're 10. I know I shouldn't, just want violence between children, but when you are a 10-year-old, the only way to do anything is to punch. That's kind of problem-solving when you're 10, is just I have to beat it up, I have to fight. And that's just...
Well, especially when you're a shonen protagonist.
Them splitting up when they had a disagreement in, the original series made sense, because it was episode, 45, and they had basically aged, at least a year being in the digital world. So, whatever. But it just feels like them sort of settling things like, well, I think we should go this way, let's separate, or whatever their minor argument was, it didn't mean as much as in Sub-Zero Ice Punch, in the original one, where they just started fighting and then Yamato started crying because he was just really worried about his brother. That was more emotion than we've seen Yamato have. He was just kind of grumpy and then said he had a brother in this season. And it's just, yeah, like, this episode is primarily bad because of the episodes before it not building up anything.
Yeah, like, I don't care about Takeru this season. At all.
No.
I know
I don't
that
care about
he exists.
any of the characters.
That's...
Like, in this episode, none of the characters, like, do anything for me.
Nothing.
No. But the thing is, like, you know what was good? Appmon. You know what didn't try to, like, play into the minds of people, like, full-grown adults with nostalgia? Appmon. There were Easter eggs. There were definitely, you know, the Agumon crossover episode, which was...
It was fine.
Just a filler episode at the end of the season. But it still didn't play into the... Like, it didn't, like, play to the audience saying, hey, do you remember this all the time? It wasn't as pandering as, hey, look, nostalgia. It was for kids. Appmon was for kids. It wasn't for adults who grew up with Digimon. It was for people who were new to the series.
Well, and it was its own thing.
Yeah. It was its definite own thing. It wasn't a reboot. It wasn't a sequel. It was its own season.
It didn't use 20 years of nostalgia as a crutch constantly.
No. It had references, like very, very subtle references. I know I've mentioned it a lot, but in the episode where Haru gets Gachumon to evolve to Globemon, there's a lot of our War Games, like, imagery. Like, when he's falling down to Globemon and, like, there's just a bunch of imagery. But it's so subtle, like, you might not even realise it. Like, I don't think I realised it until the internet said, hey, look at these two frames, don't they look the same? And it was still in a way that, like, could be a coincidence. Looks really nice. Like, it's not just like this is a direct reference. It was an enjoyable on its own, and Appmon was for kids. This season can't make up what it wants to be for the die-hard fans who grew up with Digimon and still like Digimon like us, or like the fans who are just new to Digimon. Like, this is their first Digimon season. Yeah, like, because it's trying to play for both, it's not doing well for either.
Yeah, I would be really curious to see what a 10-year-old who just saw this episode and hadn't seen any other Digimon thinks about this, because I bet they also don't care about Takeru at all.
Like, at the risk of this being the weirdest sentence that ever comes out of my head, I wish I had access to a 10-year-old so I could just make them watch this and say, hey, what do you think? And I'm sure the kid would say, yay, pretty colours, because
they're 10,
you don't really analyse, like, I loved 02 as a kid. It was my favourite season. It was my favourite season until I rewatched it as an adult. I loved how it was a sequel. I loved how we got lots of evolutions because I love evolution episodes. I thought the characters were all great and fun.
I thought it was cool.
And then watching
growing up with these characters I cared about. Like, there is something to that.
I loved that.
But god damn this series.
Yeah, and I loved Frontier because I was also like 10 and I was just like, I love this. Oh, that's so cool. But when I stopped to think about it, you know, as an actual adult or like maybe even an older teenager, it just sort of like, oh, this is not as good as I remember. But so a kid would probably still enjoy this because they don't need to think about things that they consume. They don't tend to think about things that they consume. It just has to be somewhat enjoyable. But I don't know, just make like I don't think I was that into Tamers as a kid. I know that it was airing at a weird time and they didn't show the whole season, but I was like not that keen on it. I just, like, Ruki annoyed me. The characters just seemed kind of boring. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, these characters are realistic. Like, these are realistic 10-year-olds. They don't want to just sort of go and do things. Like, I used to not like Iori in 02 either. Because I'm just like, oh, why is he like this? Oh, Iori's a 9-year-old boy who doesn't really want to save the world because...
He's a 9-year-old boy with trauma.
Boy. Yeah, he's a 9-year-old boy who lost his dad, has some trauma, and doesn't really want anybody to die. Is just a really nice kid. And now you just want to give him a hug. Yeah, just like, oh no. Iori's like, oh, Iori. Like, the only time that I was annoyed with 02 as a kid was when I found out that Iori becomes a housewife.
Yeah, and that's still terrible.
it's still, like, well, the CD drama fixed it because it turns out she's just on maternity leave and she actually, like, is a software engineer and works, like...
Oh, yeah,
no,
that's
I'm
good.
not sure if it's... I think it's I'm not sure if it's for or with Koshiro, but works, like, alongside Koshiro as a software engineer.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just on maternity leave and she's going back, like, next year. She's not, like, taking forever off because she has, like, a million kids. She's just temporarily on, like, maternity leave. I think she might even reference that Ken might be taking some time off too.
Good.
Which, that's what parenting should be. It shouldn't be, oh, you birthed the kid, your problem. Like, it's definitely, like, a two-person thing. Like, unless you don't have another person, which is, like, that's still a lot of work.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that, but yeah.
But if you have another person to help you out, they should, and especially if they contributed to the birthing, then they should definitely help out. So... Anyway, that was also not this season. That was like a 10-minute rant.
Yeah,
we're
way in the weeds here, but let's finish up our synopsis.
This does not. Yeah. So yeah, this point is this episode and this season does not do well because of the lead up. But this episode could have been better with better lead up. Anyway, so where were we? We just had Taichi not have any remembrance about his own sister, whatever. The characters forget they're in mid battle, and where Garurumon is able to jump off whatever he is to catch the falling Takeru and Yamato who are falling, and then it makes no sense because Metal Greymon then has to catch them both.
It's so terrible.
It's so... I mean, I know it's meant to look super dramatic, and again, if I was a 10-year-old, I'd be like, oh, that's so exciting! But it just... As an adult, it makes no sense. Why is Metal Greymon not just... Like, he was going to catch them both anyway. Mm-hmm. Where Garurumon plummeting to his death doesn't look... just not good as an adult. And if they're playing to an adult, they should make things that an adult can enjoy.
Well, and of course,
like
scientist me is like, but terminal velocity. But that's not important.
Yeah. Well, you could always just say the digital world has different, like, laws of physics, and that would explain so much.
Shouldn't.
And but so many seasons have said that, and I've just been like, yeah, whatever, fine, digital world weirdness, whatever. And I'm fine with doing that. I'm fine with, like, it's a show about fighting monsters. I don't expect the physics to be, like... Yeah, like, Metal Greymon does not look like something that could fly, and he doesn't have, like, jets to help him fly or anything, but that's fine.
He has just vague purple wings that I did not realize were wings for years.
Oh, no one did. I've seen so many comments on the internet saying, well, Metal Greymon can fly. Uh-huh. Like, I don't think we've ever seen Metal Greymon fly. I think we've seen Where Garurumon fly more than Metal Greymon, and he doesn't even have wings, he just jumps real good. So, anyway. So, it's just unusual that he jumps too. Velgamon looks like he's defeated Taichi and Yamato, which is probably one of the other parts I'd enjoyed in the episode, but Takeru looks determined, tells Velgamon to stop it, and I guess he kind of does. Like, he doesn't immediately eat the small child, which feels like if I was a giant bird and this tiny 8-year-old was telling me to stop it, I would just eat the child. Like, not an issue.
Why does Ross, the largest friend...
And then... simply not eat the others. Yes, but seriously... And then we have, like, Angemon show up, and, oh, it's so dramatic. But then, again, it's like, what, maybe 5-10 minutes seconds. Of just standing there.
Yeah.
But I know, in time-wise, it's just, probably 4 seconds that's just slowed down, or sped up, or whatever, I don't care. And Velgamon didn't think about eating the angel at any point, or, just doing a squash. Like, it just, why?
Well, and I'm supposed to care about Angemon dying because he said a word.
He said
Takeru, which is also the only thing Yamato knows how to say the episode. Can we get, I'm sorry,
Angemon
episode 20 drinking game, take a shot every time somebody says Takeru.
Or Oniichan.
And take 2 if it's followed by Oniichan. Like,
you'll
that's
die.
all the characters say.
Oh no.
Like, I want to see a transcript of this episode that is, like, I'd like, just word for word. I just want to see the script of this episode. And I just want to know how many words in this episode weren't Takeru or Oniichan. Or a Digimon saying its name. Like,
I was honestly shocked when Takeru got a second word.
Yeah, like he could have just yelled Oniichan at the bird, and I wouldn't have been, like, that would have been so in character, because you know what? When Yamato tells Garurumon to evolve, he doesn't say Garurumon, he says Takeru. Like, what? Why are we doing this? Why? Could we only pay for the actors to say, like, a bunch, like, less than 10 words? Like, the majority of the words were said by the 2 characters who aren't even, like, relevant in this episode. And it was the best, because I feel like Sora had more lines in this episode than any other episode that we've seen so far. And it wasn't even the focus of the episode. And she probably had the most amount of lines in the episode out of all the characters. Just, what? I'm just losing it. I just,
Why?
it's just, like, this episode was bad when I watched it, and I feel like it's even worse actually just, like, talking about it, because I realised that, as I said, this episode could have been good, and it could have stayed the exact same way. Had we had any build-up, this episode could have been an okay, decent-ish episode. This is... Anyway, so Yamato says what I guess is super obvious, but we had to give him more lines because Sora has had more lines. So Yamato says, and I want to point out that he doesn't really say still doesn't say many words. He literally says, the
glowy thing
that's
must
the holy
be,
Digimon.
yeah.
It's like, holy Digimon that we've been looking for, and then that must mean, like, that's about it. So he says this must be the holy Digimon, and I'm like, yep, it's both holy and a Digimon. Well done, tick those boxes. Angemon takes Takeru's hand, activates his Digivice, and another good part of the episode, which is so minor, I guess, but it's just a good part of the episode because something has to be good, is that Angemon has battle damage, like his metal plates are cracked, and he has like this huge red wound on his arm that looks like something's been like the chains have been like scratching him and like chafing.
I wish I
like,
cared how Angemon ended up there, or that I thought we would actually get an answer to that.
Oh,
I don't think it matters how he got there.
I mean,
no, I think this is the start of the arc with Angemon, rather than we've come into it halfway through. But we'll get to that at the end.
I still don't think we're going to. I think that was it.
Yeah, Devimon captured him. That's the story.
I think that's as bad as much character as Patamon and Angemon are going to get, which is really sad.
I am not convinced that we will have Takeru speak in full sentences this entire series, and I hope that that's not true, but... Whew.
I kind of we're going to have Hikari, woman of far too many words for a small child, then we're going to have Takeru with far too little. Together, they make up 2 8-year-olds with the same, like, a decent amount of words. To be fair, also 8-year-olds don't shut up. Like, they talk a lot. They like to ask questions, which is reasonable. They are small. They want to know things. I commend that. Also, reminder that Koshiro is 9, only a year older than the characters who are written as babies. Mm-hmm. I just want to point that out. And I know that a year is a long time when you're that small. No, when you're, when I was 9, I'm fairly certain I had, like, a friend who was 8, and it was really it was a year, like, less than a year age difference, so we were sort of still, the same age. Like, 8 and 9, not that much of a difference. You're in year 2 or 3, you're still in the bottom half of primary school. Anyway, so yeah, this whole scene doesn't feel, like, it feels lacking because... I already knew that Takeru was a chosen and that Angemon was his partner.
Wait, what?
And I made the connection that he was the holy Digimon.
What? Takeru's chosen?
Yeah, it's like, at least in Digimon Adventure, we were kind of like almost subtle about Hikari being the 8th child.
Yeah, seeing it as an adult, it's like, okay, no, this was super obvious. Yeah,
it's super obvious, but as a kid, it was just like, oh, what? Hikari, he's just that, even though the show, like, tells you about it, like, a couple of episodes before, because you are a child, you don't process it, or you forget that because it's been like longer than 7 days, which is...
There's also like, the very obvious fact that Takeru's been in the intro with a Digimon for 20 episodes now.
Oh yes, and Hikari too, which is just so weird. I don't know. It is weird that the opening didn't start with just the characters who we were going to meet immediately. It also had Takeru and Patamon hanging out, which made it look like they already knew each other. It was weird that they didn't. With that, I'm still wanting to know what that vague phone call was about. Was it really just Yamato saying, hey, I'm going to be gone, you stay put? But it just seemed like it was going to be so much more meaningful than that. Nope, just...
We were literally just going, by the way, Yamato has a brother. That's the information we were supposed to take from that.
You know what? I think Takeru also said Oniichan in that conversation too.
That's all he said.
Like, it... Why has he... Takeru had more lines saying just Oniichan by itself than Sora's had basically in every other episode besides this one. I don't know. Anyway, so Leomon sees the light from Angemon, and then Metal Greymon and Wegarumon are given the power from the Jesus light, and I was so worried that they were just going to do a Megamon again, but Hikari wasn't here, so I guess they couldn't. So they just got magical shonen powers to defeat the bad guy. Angemon dies and become an egg, which I guess is the same sort of thing that they had in the original, where Angemon, like, instead of, like, absorbing the powers of others and then use that all to, like, as an attack, he just gave his power to the other characters this time.
I guess.
But it still felt kind of weird that he just died.
Yeah, it
Even with
sure
that, like,
did.
oh, he gave his powers to the other Digimon. We've seen that before. It felt weird that, I don't know.
He
just-
got
he-
a word, and that's what we got out of our 20-some episode long build up to this moment.
You know what would be more meaningful? If, one, we didn't have Evolution to Perfect yet. It was just Greymon and Garurumon in this battle, okay? Fighting the perfect level. Slightly more of a reasonable struggle. And then we had Angemon giving his power to the adult levels just to be able to beat the perfect level.
That would have made
That
a
would
lot
have
more
been
sense.
so much easier.
Yeah, well, especially
Because-
like even before
Yeah.
that happened, Velgamon was not a significant threat right up until after
No.
Takeru was saved.
Yes. And also, the thing is
We
that
had time to
it's also
ride him.
the power of an adult level Digimon.
I'm just looking up Velgamon to try and find out his level, and it says hybrid.
He's
Yeah, well, it was
I
a
don't know
hybrid
what that
spirit.
he's
Oh,
he's
it's
hybrid spirit.
Equivalent to ultimate.
That's he's not perfect. He's the level above, but it still feels weird that an adult level Digimon gave two perfects who have previously been able to fight perfect levels on their own, just like Wegarumon and Metal Greymon have like individually fought perfects on their own and won, but that was their evolution episode, so they had a buff. And now we need, I don't know, it felt weird.
I mean,
to
some
struggle.
Digimon, even though they'll be the same power level, will still be more powerful than other Digimon of that level.
Yeah, but the point is that it's still Angemon who was an adult level Digimon giving his power.
Yeah, although Angemon has
Angemon's always
just
had
been-
like the power of an ultimate.
Yeah, which is real bad. And also, I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, this was just they had to get away from point A, which was Angemon is alive, to Angemon is an egg, and they just came up with a reason.
And now we're also going to, I guess, destroy his memories because that's what happened to the other Digimon when they got reincarnated as
Yep.
the eggs. They forgot what they were before.
And that's how
they
Hikari
didn't
suddenly
remember.
matters, is we need the only other person who has any memories.
Yeah, because Tailmon. But I still have hopes for that. Like, hopefully we still go with, like, maybe Tailmon's joined the side of evil, but she knows who she is.
That would be interesting, and
I don't
way
think that's gonna
more, like, fun to watch than I think this show is going to give me at this point.
Oh, absolutely not. So, yeah, they have the shonen magic, they win, and then Angemon decides to die and peace out. Agumon says the Digimon are born as Digitamas and they're reborn as Digitamas.
Unless they're
and
evil.
then nobody... Yeah, apparently. But the thing is, in the original, we said that, even Devimon will go back to the primary village.
Minotauromon died literally last episode, and we did not see a Digitama.
I think he was just... they choose. They choose what they want to, if they want to reincarnate.
Why would
which is the
Minotauromon
writer's
not
choice.
choose to reincarnate, though?
No, sorry. I meant the writers choose.
I think more to the point,
that
they
makes more
choose
sense.
where they reincarnate, potentially.
Maybe, because... maybe Primary Village doesn't exist in this?
We don't know yet.
I don't know.
This is
So,
come on, guys. It's a reboot. It'll be called Secondary Village.
Ha
Oh, no.
In
No,
fairness,
no,
it wasn't
good with
it
that.
wasn't primary except in the dub where it was Hajimari in the original.
Yeah, it was the Village of Beginnings. Which is...
I want to see the
No,
village of
the
both
Village of
fine
New
names.
Beginnings.
Yeah. So everyone just stares at the egg. Nobody thinks of grabbing the egg, so Skull Knightmon shows up and steals it.
Yeah.
Remember Cross Wars? The writers seem to vaguely remember Cross Wars.
Oh
I
man,
don't.
And then we
a
have...
kidnapping.
I've not
I
seen
am
Crosswords.
shocked that someone gets kidnapped in this show.
Again, same thing with Frontier. We just decided to kidnap the eggs. Like, okay.
Sorry.
Can I give you an egg in this trying time? Says Skull Knightmon, being short. I don't know. Skull Knightmon, weird kind of design. I keep on wanting to call him like his evolution, which is just like Black Knightmon, but whatever. And then we have Devimon addressing, again, nobody at all, just standing there saying, I'm evil, what's up, here. I'm going to have the most amount of lines in the entire episode by not saying the words Takeru or Oniichan. It's just, And then we finally have something good, the end. We have Koshiro introducing Kabuterimon in the encyclopedia.
It's pretty great.
He says that Kabuterimon, he says his head is hard to ride on, but it's comfortable, so I guess we don't have to know if he has a pillow or whatever he keeps on saying. And then we have the precious moment of Kabuterimon trying to teach him jokes as they fly,
Aww.
but Koshiro doesn't understand, like, half of them. And I'm just like, oh, that was so, like, that was much more pure than I could have ever imagined. I was kind of, like, hoping that we might get, like, him just saying, oh, Kabuterimon's the best, but this is so much better than that. Like, the writers clearly put all their effort into the Digimon Encyclopedia. Do we have any highlights? I think I've mentioned my 2 highlights that I had. The battle damage on Angemon and the fact that Sora's mum acknowledged that they'd been gone 3 days and seems to actually tell her off. Even though we didn't see it. We had too much, like, if they skipped the evolutions to Metal Greymon and Were-Garurumon, we could have actually had a scene of maybe Sora being yelled at and then Sora sneaking out the next day because she probably should have been grounded.
She really should be. Oh my god, she could have died. And that's just with the part her mom knows.
So she probably snuck out, like, which is what I'm reading into it. It's probably not true, but whatever. And we don't even know why Joe and Mimi aren't there. Joe probably grounded himself. Mimi probably got grounded, but the show's not telling us that. But still, the highlights are the characters seem to get in trouble. Koshiro probably also got in trouble, but also may have overheard his parents saying, oh, he was gone 3 days. He did something adoption. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know.
It's just maybe.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'll be curious to see
maybe
where
it's
that
like
goes.
you know when people, like, have animals that pass away and immediately their thoughts are like, well, I'm going to adopt another one. Like, what if that were just their thoughts of like, well, we lost that one. Do you want to adopt another kid?
Oh, that'd be terrible. I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious to see if we're going to get any interesting bits about what happened with people's families while they were gone.
I think that once we're done with the whatever arc is going on in the digital world, which I just don't care about, I think we're going to have the real world, like, maybe not Myotismon arc, but it's going to be in the same place as the Myotismon arc.
Yeah.
Like, or similar place, and I feel like that's going to be the best arc, because
it was in the original.
Yeah, and I think Taichi and Yamato are just going to be in the digital world having the plot, and these characters are going to have better plot, which isn't even plot. They're just going to be hanging out in the real world, having family moments and character moments.
God, can you please just get them to make a slice of life Digimon, like, show?
I would love that.
Just give me post-02, just, like, a whole season of them just hanging out and having real-world shenanigans, please.
Yeah, what if Lucky Star, but they all had Digimon with them?
Oh my god, yes.
Like, that'd be the best thing ever. Like, yeah, sure, shonen big fight, that's great, wonderful, emotional moments, great. I'm sorry, slice of life with Digimon would be so pleasant. Like, just like,
I will love anyone
like
forever who please sends me a copy of the Lucky Star intro song, but it's Digimon dancing to it.
Oh, that absolutely exists. There were so many of those,
yeah.
like, 10 years ago, that there was, like, Evangelion ones, they were really well done.
Yeah.
Parody ones, I'm positive there has to be a Digimon one. Like, it's definitely just there.
So if this exists,
it's probably been on Nico
it
Nico Doga. Yeah, it's just, I'm gonna see if there's one straight after this episode. It must exist, but if it doesn't, it should. Like, and it's just Mimi and Palmon in, like, the cheerleader outfits, because they would.
It would be so good. Oh. Anyway.
But yeah, do we have any actually highlights, or just things that we wish could happen?
Devimon's Spire Castle thingy looked kind of cool.
Oh yeah, Devimon scenes have all, even though it's just sort of him giving exposition to, again,
no one.
Nobody. Who is he talking to?
Literally you.
Yeah, but who is he? He must be talking to, like, I thought that it might be like Skull Knightmon, but then we saw Skull Knightmon and then he still decided to speak to nothing. Is he just, like, talking to the Dark Masters, and the Dark Masters are gonna say, you didn't try to kill the kids hard enough, we're going to eat you? Like, I just...
Yeah. I don't know. This episode was so bad, and then I'm sort of vaguely curious about what he meant by the egg being easy to turn into evil or
That's
something. I wasn't paying
the
that
bit
much
I'm
attention.
excited about.
Well,
Yeah,
I want to be,
but
That's
but I
like
also think
the
it's gonna
only good
disappoint
part
me.
of the episode.
Yeah.
I don't have any faith for anything good to happen. Like, this could have been all according to Keikaku. He could have just said the whole time, like, oh, I just was trying to get Angemon to meet Takeru just so I could do something.
Yeah, no, and he clarified it was an
have
accident.
him be evil. I just...
So here's the thing. We were all like, it'd be so cool if Angemon is Devimon. It's not that.
Definitely
But
not.
instead we've got Angemon has had to expend his power to save Takeru from Valgamon or whatever.
Hey,
and now
haven't seen that before.
this... Yeah, whatever. But this Digi-Egg's now going to be contaminated by Devimon and basically Palmon's going to be evil.
Or
Which
we're
I'm
gonna save
really
the Digi-Egg
excited for,
next
because it basically
episode.
means... No, I'm excited for that because it means we basically get the whole Palmon's on the dark side thing and us be turned back, which we wanted in the first place, which sounds cool and exciting.
There's definite promise, but
Oh.
it's just this season so far hasn't been very good with
See,
working up to things.
we've had fan theories about like, oh, it'd be really cool if Angemon's evil, but instead of us just like jumping in at the point where he's already contaminated, we get to see it happen. So we might actually
Yeah,
get a
and
character arc out of this, which is really cool.
Maybe Takeru as well, because Takeru this whole time was like covered in dark. Maybe it was miasma. I don't know. It was just darkness the entire time. I would be on board for evil Takeru as well.
I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't really see that. It'd be
And-
cool, but
I'm all
I know,
in
but
for
what I can
Angemon is
imagine-
evil now, has been corrupted by Devimon, and they have to somehow get him back. Because, like, this isn't a Soundbirdmon or Dark Ring situation where you just break it in an episode and they're back to normal. Like,
Yeah,
there's an actual opportunity for a struggle there.
yeah.
Can I be hopeful and say what I think might happen, but I'm most likely wrong because it's probably, well, I think it's better than anything that the writers so far have shown us that they can put in. So let's say that Takeru is surrounded by darkness and has like, maybe he doesn't show any corruption himself, but he spends like the next knowing Digimon 15 episodes holding the egg, and he's rubbing off all this evil energy. So maybe it's not so much Devimon
Evil radiation.
touching the egg, it's actually Takeru's fault. And then we have the big reveal of Devimon saying, oh, he became evil, but this wasn't because of me, it was actually because of Takeru. And then we have like Takeru dealing with that.
See, I think we're just going to get 15 episodes of him holding an egg that it turns out we will be shown next episode
I don't
has a
think we
dark
will.
spore or something in it.
I don't think Takeru's going to get the egg back. I think Devimon's got it now and is going to corrupt it.
Maybe.
I
And
think we're going to get it
Angemon's
back
going to be
like,
the
in
next
the
villain.
first 10 minutes.
Or like some different Digimon that's digivolved from it.
I think
will
Ty's
be
going
the
to glow
next
and
villain.
we're
I
going to
feel
get it back.
I think we're going to get it back like next episode. I think where War Greymon's going to be like, hi, Skull Knightmon's going to die immediately, and we're going to get the egg back, and it'll just be, Dust's hands, it's fine, all
We're
done.
going to shadow
Clap,
Oniichan.
clap, clap.
No, I think
Yeah, bullshit.
ultimately Leomon's going to die while trying to get through to this evil
Oh, that
Angemon.
may be.
Oh, and then that activates the evolution to ultimate,
Something like that.
Yeah.
because that always happens.
Yeah. Leomon is just
do we-
a vehicle for allowing boys to express man pain.
Yeah. I mean, thanks, Aslan. But seriously, do we have any actual other highlights besides like things that could happen? Because while that is a very hopeful fact that you said, Stevie,
Some parts of the episode
I-
looked cool. That's as far as I can get.
yeah, some parts were good. As I said, Koshiro and Tentomon existing, Sora's mum punishing her, Angemon having some battle damage from just ripping out of the restraints. I don't know.
It was very
Kids had battle
silly,
damage when they
but
fell
I
from
think
the
I
sky,
enjoyed.
which was healed.
Yeah,
Where was Angemon? Where was Angemon? Like where was he? Was he
we don't know.
inside Velgamon? I thought he was at the castle. How did he get there?
Apparently he's
What
just bound
was he
to the
inside
ground.
Takeru?
We, I could maybe see inside Velgamon, but I think it was just supposed to be evil dimension of evilness.
Yeah, but that's just so
It
lame.
really is.
He just
We summoned him.
he just sort of spawned and died and said one word, and that word was Takeru. It's just
But see,
I just-
it's to try there's a parallel between Yamato's bond with Takeru and Angemon's bond with Takeru.
They both
yeah, because
involve
it's the only
saying
thing
the
that I
word
had to
Takeru.
say.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just
They have an equal
do we have
amount of
any
love
other
for
highlights?
Takeru.
Alright,
This is the closest thing to Patamon we've seen on screen,
yeah.
Except for the intro
except the
and
intro.
outro. Yeah.
The outro is still creepy, and I dislike it.
I love it. I love there's so many nice aspects of it. I love how we have Mimi looking for Palmon in a forest of Palmons and then getting emotional when she sees her and then swinging through digital nonsense. It's nice. But
After this, I'll make
so-
a gif of just Tai Chi in the outro scene and share that, and just try and tell me it's not creepy.
I like it. But any other highlights, or can we move to lowlights, which I think
want to
we've
give one minor
addressed.
highlight, which is I actually think I kind of like the nipple missile surfboard.
I like
Oh
it.
yeah, I liked that.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was weird, but it was kind of fun, and it was the only I liked it. I thought it was fun, and it was a new way of getting there. Yamato running up Metal Greymon's claw attack. That was also kind of cool. It made no sense. Very dangerous. Where Garurumon could have just done all that, but we needed the screaming of Oniichan and Takeru and Oniichan and Big Wolf. Big Wolf and Takeru doesn't mean as much. I don't know.
Yeah, although honestly, just like Big Wolf could have jumped him over there and not been quite so dangerous.
Yeah, and also Metal Greymon can fly.
Yeah.
Just shrug. That's a thing that we, despite him having wings, we haven't actually seen before.
Velgmon sure did just
I
stand
did
there
not
while they
realize
did
that was
that.
me.
Like, why didn't Velgmon decide to eat them at any of these points where it was just sort of, we forgot that we were mid-battle, so we just kind of stood there screaming? I don't know.
Velgamon was just so passive.
The Velgmon sucked.
Yeah, we only know he was strong because
Someone had
he
to
kinda-
tell us.
Yeah, Leomon told us, and he stepped on Valvemon with a very lazy animation of, well, there was Valvemon, and now there's no Valvemon. Ah.
He was ripped in half.
Like, that was it.
That was cool.
Yeah, but it seemed, I don't know, I was very happy with the Valvemon sort of battleship sort of thing that was going on. I just, I don't know. Anything else that was good?
No.
Because we can move on to lowlights,
Sure.
but I think we've more or less said,
Yeah.
I've said all my
Said most
lowlights.
of them.
It was
Gestures
just
vaguely at the episode.
the main part of the episode that was the worst, though, was the fact that there was no lead up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this episode suffered from bad writing from previous episodes, not just the episode itself. We had episode 18, which we all said was the worst episode, but at least that episode wasn't really hurt by anything else in the previous episodes. It just was... Again, that was also another episode where we just didn't have any talking. I don't know, it just... it's not good. Mm-mm. So, do we have anything else to say?
I think I've
The
covered mine
music
for
was
lowlights.
bad.
Yeah, they...
Extreme Fight just did not fit for the chase sequence at all.
No.
No, I gotta say,
No.
when we did Koichi got a badass song for this.
Yeah, the dub gave us, a great song, very edgy.
Wow, I just was thinking of Oreta Tsubasa Day, which is maybe my favorite Digimon
Oh, also
song.
cool. Yeah, also his character song in the original, but the English dub gave us some, edgy sort of thing, and it was great.
Yeah,
that was
you gotta
great.
give me
Give us some
something,
music too.
but they sure didn't.
They need more
Like-
tracks.
Frontier had a lot of problems, but I still think one of the greatest moments is when Duskmon realizes that he's Koichi and Koji's his brother, and he has
Yeah, when I thought
the
that was gonna
memory
matter,
of
it
him
was
falling
cool.
down the stairs. Yeah, that was probably one of the best parts of Frontier, other than the lore, which could have been good. It's just, him realizing, we get the flashbacks of, the grandma saying, oh, you have a brother, and then him trying to, stalk his brother and ends up, in a coma.
Oh god, what if
that
we're getting more
actually
Greymon out
meant
of the way
something.
so we can turn into ancient Greymon?
Yeah.
I, honestly think that might be what's happening.
I would be on board, but we need, there are 10 legendary warriors, and we would need another 2, unless we're just going to grab, Ken and Ryo, because those are the 9th and 10th, quote-unquote chosen children.
I mean, I guess I'd be fine with that. Oh.
Yeah, unless we're going to just
We're not doing a great job on the
start
elements,
0-2.
but...
And also, I would be so on board to have Ancient Irismon, who is, by the way, finally showing up on a virtual pet. The Pendulum Z is having Ancient Irismon, and that's just so good because I love Ancient Irismon so much, and she's finally showing up, and she's never really shown up before, and I'm just really emotional about this. Yeah.
Pronouncing that letter as Z is very adorable, by the way. I say as an American.
It's what this... But it's...
I pick and
But-
choose.
Technically, it's actually Zeto. but it sounds weird saying Zetto.
Yeah, Zetto is really bad. Anyway.
But isn't it also Dragon Ball Zetto?
I don't remember offhand, but I think you might be right, and I still think
I
that's
feel like
really bad.
They don't say Z, they don't say Z, they say Zetto, which is neither here. It's not Zedo, it's Zetto with a T. Anyway, also not Digimon. But yeah, is there anything to really say about compared with the original series besides look Sora's mum?
There was a
Home
much
Away
bigger
from Home
build-up
was
to
much better
Angemon.
than this. Yeah, Angemon I cared about in the original, and like Takeru I cared about, and instead I just started laughing when the only thing Angemon said was Takeru.
Yeah, that was
I like
so funny.
busted out
because
laughing because it was hilarious.
You know the episode of Dexter's Laboratory, which is Omelette du Fromage, and Dexter's sister Dee Dee says, "That's all you can say. That's all you can say." That's all I could think. This entire episode was just.
I, being a woman of taste, went with Inuyasha's Inuyasha. Kagome.
Kagome! Look, you could also go even like one step further and probably a little bit older and say, Mulder! Scully! Mulder! Scully!
Yeah.
Like, it's very much like a
And
trope
it's
in
never
media
good.
where two characters will just exchange their names. And like, Dr. Scott! Like, it's just...
Yeah.
There are so many ways you can just like take this and make it sort of like a meme. Oniichan, Takeru, Dr. Scott, or something. I don't know. It's just.
Yep. No, this was terrible. Ugh.
They made it so like not meaning. Like they made it not meaningful. They made the word Takeru and Oniichan just not mean anything. And
Oh, can we get steamed hams? But it's this episode.
What?
I don't know what that is
What?
yet, but someone please make a steamed hams meme out of this episode.
I don't know how that could happen, but I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah. I will say, Angemon showing up only to die after doing nothing useful besides, like, making other people glow.
Oh, tuxedo
Had
mask.
some real tuxedo mask,
Hey.
but you didn't do anything energy.
There are
Hey,
so, there are
Angemon could
so
be a
many
support
ways.
class.
Yeah, but
He's
not in
not.
like a good way.
Yeah.
He is. He's Mercy Main.
Yeah, but he's only Mercy Main because people told him to be Mercy Main, and he ended up doing one thing the entire battle.
And then he did the
I
opposite
don't
of a
know.
res.
Yeah, there's so much you can do to make fun of this episode.
This was a just awful episode, and I am looking forward to all
But
of the
at least-
memes. May
Yeah, just, like,
send me
there's so
the
many-
best, dankest memes that people at the podcast with this week, please.
Please just at us the dank memes of just like it's the new meme format. It's Takeru, Oniichan, and another thing.
Yeah.
Like, is it that's all you can say? Is it Dr. Scott? Is it Donkey? I don't know. But
Oh.
it's just that's
Butterfly
that's,
meme,
Yep.
but Takeru's face is this Oniichan.
Oh no. Oh no. I love that meme. There's so many memes you can make out of this, and I want everyone to tweet at TranslationMon as whatever meme you can come up with to do with this
Oh,
episode
I
because
have one already. I'll make it later.
Okay,
Oh,
awesome.
good.
Great.
Okay, I think each of us should also make a meme to like get it started.
Alright.
But that means I need to watch the episode just for screenshots again, which I guess I'll have to do after. But anyway, so what fave characters? Because I'm sorry, but mine was Sora's mum.
I'm torn.
Would it be
between-
wrong?
Go ahead.
Would it be wrong to go with Joe?
For not being there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no because you've picked Joe a lot, and you picked Joe like last episode,
It's great.
and he had at least 2 lines in that. I'm going to make a hard ruling and say no Joe this time because he didn't actually show
That's
up.
not fair.
You could go Gomamon.
Look, you
I
can
suppose
go
I could.
Gomamon or Palmon.
I'll get back to you in a sec. Quinn can go first.
Okay,
Alright,
Quinn?
So I am torn, and you two can help me figure it out. Should I go with Izzy's laptop or the Digimon Encyclopedia?
Okay, I'm gonna say the Digimon Encyclopedia.
Okay. Yep, it had more personality than anyone else in the show.
Oh,
Shouldn't
come
that
on,
just be
that is like
Koshiro then? Because like there's Koshiro's bit.
No, specifically the Encyclopedia, because Koshiro
Yeah.
didn't
Why
have any
did-
real personality during the
Why
episode.
have you just stopped picking characters and just started picking random elements of the show?
she will pick characters again when the show gives us characters
I
again.
have made this rule for myself that I have to pick a real character if it scores above a 2.
What, yikes. Wait, didn't you gave last episode above a 2,
Yeah, you
right?
gave it
Gave it a
2.5.
2.5?
Oh.
And picked
Yeah, you gave it a
Burger Jack's
2.5.
on.
Well,
Quinn.
I really shouldn't have, because that episode was
Maybe...
not as terrible as this, but still pretty terrible.
Yeah,
All right.
Maybe above, like, a 3.
Yeah, three or lower. I'm allowed to pick inanimate objects if I want to.
Okay, Stevie, have you decided?
Oh, below a 2, I'm allowed to pick abstract concepts.
Oh, yes, definitely. But, look, the Great Sky Gina was still more relevant than anything else in that of the entire
really
episode.
was.
And also the Burger Jack sign
Yep.
was also present. And that was more than any other characters. But yeah, I picked Sora's mum because, like...
No.
Congratulations on acknowledging that your child was missing for 3 days and actually doing something about it, like telling the kid off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've come to decision.
Okie dokie, what is it?
It is Tentomon, because he said right on
Yep.
Koshohan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I mean, if like Sora's mum wasn't like shown and we didn't know that she was told off, I would have picked Palmon
Yeah.
just because her face of like complete like disinterest in like the fact Mimi wasn't there. Was
Well,
just
and her
like,
just,
me
that
too."
sounds like me.
Yeah, but her face is also just like me the entire episode. Like, oh, Mimi's not even going to show up.
Yeah.
But just, yeah, I just, like, yeah, I can't believe that Sora's mum was my favourite. But I can't think of any other choice. And, yeah, other than Palmon, I guess. But yeah, Sora's mum is my choice. What about look, I think my rating, which is the next question, is going to change. I gave it a 3.5, but talking about it, I think I'm going to give a 3. I think I'm just going to just step it down just a little bit. But it's not as good as the last episode, like episode 19, which was also a 3. So it's like more of like a 2.8, but I'm just going to say 3. Because of Sora's mum. If we just cut out the real world portion completely, the episode would have probably just been a 2 or a 2.5.
Yeah.
But with that part, and with the fact that Angemon had battle damage, it makes it a 3. But only because of those 2 minor small parts.
I'm going with a 2.
So you're going with a 2?
Pretty terrible.
And Stevie?
I'll cut it down the middle with a 2.5.
That's fair.
Like, the
so
best bit
this
is
episode...
just the end. And that's mostly just being excited for where it could go.
Oh yeah, that's the same as a lot of episodes that sort of end with a sort of, oh, this could go somewhere. Like, last episode had the similar...
I don't feel like the last few episodes had that. The last few episodes felt like just very predictable next episodes.
Last episode having Takeru in, like, being the cargo, that felt kind of promising.
Vaguely, briefly.
Vaguely, briefly.
I wasn't hopeful, funnily enough.
Yeah, but this still has some hope to it, but also the egg got kidnapped, which I'm never looking forward to. So our ratings together gave a 7.5, which means it is currently tied for the last, like 7.5 being the same as what we gave episode 19. So we'll just go to our ranking quickly and see how we individually rank this. I put this as apparently higher than it should have been. I'm just going to move that around, just bear with me. I originally had it apparently above episode 19, just by 1 place. But I'm going to... Where did I put episode... Yeah, okay. I apparently also had it above episode 3, which despite having a Megamon in it, is probably still better than this, so I'm moving around quite a bit from my original ranking. And now I'm putting this in 3rd last place. So with episode 18 being the worst, episode 10 being slightly better, and then episode 20 being a little bit better-ish. Stevie, where are we putting episode 20?
I'm going to put it... I think it's 4th from bottom. It's between episodes 3 and 5.
Yep, that's a reasonable place for it. And Quinn, where are we putting episode 20? Remember, you have your overall and then you have your individual.
So I'm going with 3rd from bottom.
3rd from bottom, so...
Slightly beats 10 and 18.
So basically where I've put it. Yep, cool. So we've got each of our bottom 3s. We have mine and Quinn, which is episode 18 being the worst, episode 10 being betterish, and then episode 20 being betterish but still bad. Yeah. And then we have Stevie with, my apologies, wait, you said 4th last?
Yeah, between episodes 3 and 5. is what I meant.
That's fifth. That's
Yeah,
fifth.
I wasn't
Oh, no,
sure. I
now,
was just confused.
Okay.
okay, so between 3 and 5.
Yes.
So your bottom
5.
five.
Yeah.
Yep. Episode 20 being
5th.
the least
Yeah.
bad of the bottom 5. Episode 5, then episode 19, episode 4, and episode 18 in the bad place.
Yep.
So we all said that was worse than episode 19, right?
That sounds
I
good
didn't.
to me.
I said it was half a point better.
Oh yeah. That's right. But in general, Quinn and I both had it worse than episode 19. So I think that means that in the ratings, it's just below that because they're equal. Is everyone okay with
fine.
that being our overall?
I have no strong feelings.
So, one way or another, yeah, like, it's a shame that a lot of Digimon is just sort of, I have no strong feelings one way or another, but Takeru and Oniichan do. So, our overall ranking, I'll just read out the whole thing. Episode 14, The King of Insects Clash. Episode 15, Zudomon's Iron Hammer of Lightning. Episode 12, Lilymon Blossoms. Episode 6, The Targeted Kingdom. Episode 16, The Jet Black Shadow Invades Tokyo. Episode 17, The Battle in Tokyo against Orochimon. Episode 1, Tokyo Digital Crisis. Episode 9, The Ultimate Invasion. Episode 2, War Game. Episode 7, That Man Joe Kado. Episode 8, The Children's Siege. Episode 15. Episode 5, The Holy Digimon. Episode 13, Garudamon of the Crimson Wings. Episode 11, The Wolf Standing Atop the Desert. Erdramon. Episode 4, Bergermon Stores. I kind of just combined words. Episode 3, Enter the Digital World. Episode 19, How Jorkan. Episode 20, The Seventh One Awakens. Episode 10, Super Evolution of Steel. Episode 18, Countdown to Tokyo's Annihilation. Please get good again, Digimon.
Yeah.
If that is okay. I just would really like some good Digimon happening because we're not getting much of the good Digimon lately.
Yep. This episode
There's
belongs
a glimmer
in
of
the bad
hope.
place. They make you watch it there.
It's strange how I've seen this glimmer of hope when the Digimon of Hope has been kidnapped.
Yep. Died
Yeah.
and then got kidnapped. I mean, you normally do it in the opposite order.
So on to questions before we finish up. First of all, Anna Bear on YouTube says that they were definitely thinking about how Takeru and Leomon would be introduced in the same episodes and cannot believe that they were right in some way. But yeah, this episode coming off the previous episode does not make this weird arc thing going at all well. I can't believe we were complaining about Taichi's episode and the weird Bergermon digivolves through fire and some weird this episode has no character of the show. Yeah, because apparently we can do worse with no characters. Next, Matthias says, watching the original Adventure in Japanese and now watching Adventure 2020 weekly, all they can say is this show is so bad. It peaked with the death of Ogumon and then went all downhill from there. And yeah, the death of Ogumon was really, dramatic, and I feel like we've not had much since, really. We've had some good moments, but they've been evolution episodes. In terms of the plot, we've just had not much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Next we have Sleek Emu 7, who says the infiltrate to the cargo was lackluster. It would have been better if the infiltration was more like the kids in Atmon infiltrate L Corp and they address how easy it was and reveal it was all a setup by Leviathan. Yeah, that was great. I loved how whenever you thought something was either too easy or if you had a certain criticism about the show tended to address it immediately. I know Atmon was just weird how no one connected to the fact that L Corp was run by Leviathan the whole time.
Jesus, that was...
Despite having the same logo. But if that's honestly one of the few complaints I had about Atmon, along with they apparently ran out of time about the whoever was the Apply driver who evolved Cameramon at one point.
Oh, yeah.
That they just sort of apparently ran out of time. It was meant to be Eugen.
Yeah, I forgot about it and so did the writers.
Yeah, but it was so, those were the two minor parts, the characters no one making a connection between Leviathan and L Corp. But, yeah, I loved how Atmon had this really easy moment where I was like, oh, this is terrible, they've made an infiltration so easy, and then it turned out everything was a trap. This whole thing was Leviathan's plan. Spoilers for Atmon, I guess, but the entire time where you think this is going too well for the characters, but it is Digimon, so I won't, complain about it too hard, was just... everything was set up by Leviathan, the whole plot. It was every bit of plot convenience. Whenever you say, oh, it's so plot convenient that they just sort of run into the next evolution, that's so convenient. That happening in Digimon is normal. But the fact it was a trap was kind of...
It was alright, yeah.
Was kind of nice. Like,
God, at this point,
well
I'm just being
done.
reminded of the Futurama. You can't just have characters announce how they feel. That makes me very angry.
Oh, Futurama. So next we have Alpha Miragi, who says that they hope Falcomon evolves so Taichi and Yamato can keep their Pekmons and Spartamon can ride the new Pekmon. Can't believe that they forgot that that Leomon is going to die. Yeah, so we're just going to forget that the Pekmons ever existed. They will show up briefly and then never again.
Yep.
Pekmon was here this
done with them
episode.
now. We've got Nippon missiles that can transport us now. Why would we need Pekmon?
It's a fair
Pekmon's for
point.
Leomon alone.
Yeah, but they were...
What happens to the Pekmon
I don't know,
when
just
Leomon
forget about
dies?
them. We get Pekmon characters apparently, and they will also die.
Leomon dies and Pekmon's just
Some-
like, I can speak!
Oh, yeah, what's the over-under? Do the Pekmons die with Leomon, or...
I don't think they're ever going to show up ever again. I think that we're just going to forget that they exist.
Alright, fair.
No, I think Leomon's going to catch up riding on a Pekmon next episode.
I know, well, what if, like, he just shows up, and these are the two ways I can think of happening. Him either not being on a Pekmon, and them saying, where's Pekmon? Oh, he died. Or him showing up without a Pekmon,
And no one addressed.
and that, and no one, like, blinks. No one, like, everyone's like, well, Leomon's here, that's a character.
Yeah.
And no reference. But, yeah, so those are the questions. Do we have any discussion points that we want to address before we move on to the outro?
I don't think so.
I think we're pretty talked out.
Yeah.
I think we spent the entire synopsis talking about points, so when we got to the discussion, we were like, well,
We did it.
I-
We did it, guys.
we
we
did
On
it.
the bad episodes, we mixed them together. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, despite this episode not being as bad as episode 18, I feel like we had more complaints.
Well,
Or at least we spend more time talking about what we didn't like, because episode 18 was just...
what if we took 10
Just
minutes
nothing
worth
happened?
of content and stretched it into 20? And that was annoying, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
And it also just didn't have any characters talking. They were just sort of like walking real slow and then fighting also real slow. And but at least that episode was just bad. This one at least had things that were happening that were annoying.
Yeah, episode 18
Like-
just dropped frame rate for no reason.
Yeah, there was no, episode 18 could not have been saved by the previous episodes. Episode 20 could have been saved by the previous episodes. Imagine if we cared about these characters. This episode would be, I want to say it could have been a 4 out of 5 for me, just if we had, some emotion about Takeru beforehand that wasn't just, I've got a brother. Like, any sort of, lead up that had, I know we were trying to have Takeru saying as little lines as possible, so we could make it mean more, apparently? I don't know. It was almost like they were trying to not have him say anything to not reveal his character, and they're probably doing the same for Hikari, but doing so made it seem like he had no character.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we cared about Takeru. This episode could be good. If we had any emotion about Yamato or Takeru besides, Yamato has a brother, Takeru is the brother. And also the Holy Digimon, which we've been looking for, which is the only bit that there's actually built on for the episode. But yeah, this episode not as bad as episode 18, but could have been better. And that's my takeaway from this episode.
Angemon is better Omegamon. That's my hot take of the episode.
Yeah.
I would agree, but it honestly depends. Like, I think our war game is still one of the best pieces of Digimon, like Digimon media. Like, it is enjoyable. I like it. I think it's probably the best Digimon movie, or at least it's definitely up there. And Digimon don't do good Digimon movies.
They did one good Digimon movie, and it was made of 3 movies.
Yeah, like, say what you want about the dub. Like, the Digimon movie, making the third part, much shorter, somehow made it better. Like, when I was, edgy and saying, oh, dubs are bad, dubs do so much, they're just all awful, whoever does a dub or watches a dub is terrible. And then I was thinking that, and then when I watched the dub and then watched the original and compared the two, I was like, oh, the original's really boring. Oh, thank you, Jeff Nimoy. You actually made this better and also linked the 3. And yeah, the Digimon movie's fine. Whatever, fight me.
It has the Digirap.
Thank you everyone for listening, and you can join us next time for episode 21, the Tide Turning Update. Do we have any predictions other than what we've already sort of speculated upon?
Next episode will be bad.
I think the tide
want
is
it to be
turning in
good.
Devimon's favour.
I think it's going to be bad because I don't expect them to do anything that's not War Greymon, and I don't want another Revolution arc so soon because...
Yeah, we're gonna go Super Saiyan, so that's what's gonna happen.
I don't like. I hope that it's just like the fact we get it's saying Metal Greymon is introduced in the encyclopedia next time is just like a misstep. Who cares about that? It's not saying that we're going to get War Greymon. And I hope that it's not an evolution. I hope that it's just a power-up. I know that sounds kind of lame, but it could... Like, I just don't want an evolution arc just yet.
I
I've had
don't
two
want it,
already.
but I still think it's going to happen. That said, they might
I don't
delay
think
the other
Taichi
6.
deserves one.
But yeah, no, Taichi hasn't deserved any of them.
No. Like, Taichi deserved, like, the evolution from Agumon to Greymon.
That's fine, yeah. But after that, nah.
That's it. Yeah, Taichi went from having, like, the most character to the least. Like, how are they spending more time with characters without personality than with the characters that they've actually surprisingly given personality to, which is, you know, the other 4. Any other predictions?
Takeru will say Oniichan at least once.
Oh, no. I mean, probably, yeah, at least once, because, you know, that's what he calls him.
50-50 odds he doesn't get any other lines.
Who's going to play the
Oh,
Oniichan
no.
drinking game next week?
Oh, yeah, I'm down for that.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Golly gosh.
Do we want to do live reaction Lost Translation?
That'd be fun.
Well, I think y'all are, like, asleep when
Yeah,
I
so
watch the
you'd have to
episode,
wait
'cause
like
I
12
watch
hours.
Yeah, I watch it at like 2 p.m. and then y'all watch it like before we do the podcast, and that's when I'm asleep.
Yeah, you'd have to get up at like 7 a.m. and do a drinking game, so it's probably not a great idea.
No, I'm already waking up at 7 a.m. to do the recording.
Yes, but then you'd have to get drunk
I'd
on
have
the
to wake-
recording, which is not a great
Yeah,
idea
like,
on a
yeah,
Monday
that's
morning.
fair. And also, like, I start, like, the only reason we do it at 7 a.m. is because I work at, like, 9, but I'm also working remotely, so I can literally go from recording the episode to working without moving because it's at my computer. So as soon as I work from home, which apparently we're opening up again on the 1st of November, which is a lot wiser than when we opened up briefly in winter. That was weird. But, so I might be going back to, like, work at the office, so it depends. But I'm down for, like, the drinking game of me doing it separately.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, me and Quinn already
But
have one drinking game for the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's all just like tally up how many drinks we do.
Yeah. And compare if we missed any Oniichans.
Exactly.
But anyway, so I think that's it for our predictions.
Oh, possible Leomon death next week.
Yeah, which activates the power-up or the evolution.
something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, well done. They're not calling the episode Leomon Dies. Like, well done for them. But also, that would mean he only lives for, like, what,
20 minutes.
2 episodes? Yeah, 20 minutes. So thanks for listening. The link dump's in the description. Redbubble's also in the description, and you can more than just shirts there too. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment us on this episode or message us on our website, LostinTranslationmon.com. You can follow us at TranslationMon on Twitter, or on Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, and YouTube, which is just Lost in Translationmon. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a red thread on the Digimon subreddit. And we'd appreciate if you would review us on any podcast listening app that you use, and we'll give you a shout out on the podcast. You can also donate to our Patreon, which link I was doing so well. You can donate to our Patreon, which link the description from is as $1 a month. Almost slipped up again there. Which gets you access to a listed Discord server, but there are high levels of more rewards, notes, early episodes, and more. And thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Joe, Stephen Reeves, who did Wild 64 and Archive Our Own, Kaidawashi, Chisai, who can follow on Tumblr, I recently changed that Twitter, at Chisai236, Kyle, Lismet, who's a Lekmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Madamimon, Sam, Spiral, Keith from Gone Will Hunting, a Hunter Hunter Rewatch podcast, Silverhead Freak 25, Magnus, Lucas, Blindman, and Japhus. Or you can make one donation on my PayPal, which you can find in the description. It's paypal.me/airdramon, and I also have a coffee account, which is ko-fi.com/airdra. And, of course, Stevie and Quinn, thank you for joining me this time. Stevie, where can we find you?
The Moncast. That's where we are.
That's where we at. And, Quinn?
I guess the Moncast sometime, unless you
Yeah.
can't.
Yes.
New
then,
episode
Yes,
tomorrow.
or a classroom.
And drinking game
Yay.
special for Halloween.
Yay! But, so, of course, thank you for joining me, and thank you, everyone, for listening to us rant for almost 2 hours over this episode.
We did it.
So, yes, see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.